You're listening to the Ozie Gilbert podcast on YouTube. Hi guys, you're listening to podcast number 2. I'm joined here today with my girlfriend, Nicola Oakins. I'm so glad to finally get her on the podcast. It's been a long time coming. I've been constantly trying to persuade her. She wasn't too sure if she'd do it, but we finally got her here. We're going to talk about how COVID's affected people last year, what effect it's played on mental health. Mostly I want to speak to her about a uni life because that's something that she's just started uni. So I just want to get an insight to her own experiences of that. So we talk a little bit about that. Talk about how Joe Wicks' exercise has been good for mental health and how we've done that together and how it brings people together. But yeah, so I hope you enjoy the podcast. So, Nicola, it's great to have you on the podcast finally. How are you doing? How have you been? What have you been up to? I know we've, I should say to the people listening that we've been living together for a couple weeks now in isolation. And we'll go into more details with exactly why, obviously, we have. But yeah, how have you been?
Yeah, no, I've been good. Obviously, we've been annoying each other, haven't we?
Yeah, constantly winding each other up.
But yeah, no, it's not been too bad. Obviously, I get bored really easily, so it might have been a bit worse than I expected, but it's not that bad.
I think we should probably tell the people listening that obviously we have been in isolation because my brother, about 2 weeks ago now? Something like that?
Probably about 2 weeks ago.
He is, how do I explain it? He's basically an electrician, so he got the virus symptoms through, obviously, his job. So my mum told us that he has come down with the virus. Well, he's got the symptoms, he's got the virus. So we were living together there before because the reason why is because obviously we're in lockdown, so you can't see people outside your household for obvious reasons. So because we knew that we had to make that decision whether or not Nicola was going to stay with me. So she stayed with me, but it just means that she's stuck here, and we've now had COVID. So I guess people are going to be asking me loads of questions after listening to this, but it's all I can really say is it doesn't change you too much. I mean, I was very fortunate with the symptoms not to be too bad. My symptoms have been quite fine. Tell everyone that listening that how you've been with it, your own personal experience of COVID.
Yeah, I haven't been too bad. Obviously, I know people that had it a lot worse, but I'm lucky that I didn't have it that bad. I think the main thing with me was just felt really weak all the time, but yeah, it wasn't too bad. Lots of people had it worse than me, so I should be grateful for that.
So it's been a bit boring. Have we driven each other
Yes, we
too
have.
crazy?
Yes, we have.
And we've been watching a lot of what's the programme?
Married at First Sight.
Too Hot to Handle and Married at First Sight, that's it. Do you recommend that?
Yeah, no, that's really good. Obviously, we watched the last series together. We kind of watched it together. I was at uni and we kind of talked about it on the phone every time we watched an episode.
Actually, that's played it nicely, a nice link there, with what I wanted to go into next is uni life. Now, you mentioned just then that obviously you used to watch it when you was at uni, and obviously that was hard for us because we couldn't see each other very, very often. Although I would sometimes get on the train and stuff. This obviously, I just want to point out, wasn't when COVID was that bad. But my first question about uni is I really want to know, what was it like for you personally when you first started? Because you had such a different experience to the average person.
Yeah, I mean, I was really nervous anyway because it was the first time me moving out of home, so obviously that can be a big deal. But obviously my experience was obviously different from everyone else because I couldn't meet anyone in my course, so the only people I really met in the first few weeks were my flatmates. And I was really nervous, and they were all really nervous as well, and they just kind of stayed in their rooms for the first few days, so I didn't really meet them.
Yeah, because you called me, didn't you? And you said, I'm not sure if I want to continue with uni.
Yeah, that was literally on the first night, because I went out for kind of freshers week, but I didn't really meet anyone, and they weren't really
So was it literally after like the first day or the first like 2 days or that you like had like a complete switch and you decided I actually do like this now? Because you completely changed, didn't you? How you felt?
Yeah.
Why do you think that was?
I think it was mainly for one flatmate in particular, Amy. She was kind of going through the same thing as me, because obviously we were both really homesick, and it was her first time moving out of home as well. So we were as bad as each other, and it can be said like we kind of helped each other through it. But at the same time, we kept saying bad stuff about how we were feeling. So it kind of done the opposite as well. But no, it did make us like a bit better about the whole situation, because we talked about how we felt and the situations we'd gone through. But yeah, I think that was the main reason.
What do you think are the main things that you really miss about not having a uni experience during COVID? What do you think is the biggest like differences with what you like? What do you feel like you've missed out on personally the most out of anything? For example, like nightlife, seeing people outside of the uni, seeing your course mates, having more lectures in person, stuff like that really. Going home I know I guess you'd still not be going home much, but knowing that you can go home a lot easier, stuff like that. What would you say is like your worst thing
I
for
think
you?
the main thing for me is meeting my course mates, because like I said, I haven't met any of my course mates. I think I've met 2, and I've been there for a whole term. And I think that's a big thing about uni, like you meeting new people. And obviously through this, I can't meet as many people as I was going to. But obviously, hopefully it'll get better soon. So hopefully I'll be able to meet them soon. But I've met like a few, but obviously it's not as much as I would hoped.
So the fact that your uni like experience hasn't been how it should be when you're starting uni for the first time and you're going obviously during COVID-19, how do you think that's affected your mental health? And if it's not your mental health, like for example, I know for the people listening, obviously they don't know, you have for the sake of like, you know, for personal reasons, I don't think it'd be nice to mention the name, but there is someone obviously in your what's it called, your accommodation that suffers like with mental health a little bit worse and stuff like that. So I feel like you can probably, so whether it's either yourself or someone else, how do you think that's affected mental health for people in general or yourself? Like the fact that it's not been the same.
I mean, for that person in my accommodation, he always like comes up to me and like just talks about how he feels, and that's his way of dealing with it. But he feels like particularly vulnerable because he can't go out and obviously meet his course mates and stuff, because his course is like all online like mine. So like he just feels like he's just in a box kind of thing in your room. And you can't obviously go out and like socialise. So we've been helping each other through it, but obviously he's a lot worse than me. So
what about for you? Like do you think the fact that you can't go to the pub with your friends and like doing the most basic stuff, like, I know you could for a tiny bit, but you can't go clubbing, you don't even have a freshers week. Like your freshers week is just like meeting your course mates, and that's it. Whereas a normal freshers week, if there was no COVID, it would literally be going on constant nights out, constant like meeting loads and lots of different people, different events, different activities. Like, do you think that's kind of like affected your mental health, that you can't do any of that fun stuff at all, like just going for a drink, and you're trapped in the 4 walls?
yeah, I mean that was like a big part, because obviously lots of people go for uni just for like kind of freshers week. Obviously I'm not saying that
Some people go to uni, don't they, like not just for the course but just for the uni experience, forgetting about the course. A little bit like I had that, didn't I? Because I went to uni for a year and I loved the uni life. And obviously don't forget that was when COVID wasn't happening. That was like a couple of years ago. And I loved the uni life, but I didn't like the course. And for you, it's good that you do like the course. But I'm saying there's a lot of people that just go for that. So that must be annoying.
I mean, lots of people kind of pick certain locations that they know that it's good for nightlife, which obviously that's their preference, but I didn't actually do that. I picked obviously the course and the location that was right for the course. But yeah, no, I was a bit annoyed that obviously I didn't have Freshers Week, but you can't really do much about it, can you?
So tying in with mental health, it's massively a discussion that a lot of people have been talking about at the moment, but I just wanted to get like your take on it. For a lot of people, and certainly for like myself, exercise is obviously very important for people's mental health and stuff like that. And during the pandemic, we have been doing lots of Joe Wicks. And I mentioned Joe Wicks because he's someone that has obviously revolutionised like the way in which people do exercise during this last year because of PE with Joe. So that he almost like gave people a virtual PE lesson. But it's been great doing Joe Wicks, hasn't it? Like,
yeah, we've really enjoyed it because obviously
So is it like a form of exercise you would say is like really enjoyable? So you're getting both kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly, because it's different every day. Because we've been doing 7 days of sweat, and obviously he tailors it for every day. So
Yeah, that's a good point.
you do like a mixture of workouts. So it's not the same every day, because otherwise you get bored of it, kind of thing. But yeah, it's been really good, hasn't it?
If you had to, I'm putting you on the spot here a bit. If you had to mention 3 exercises, right? This is a little question. This is a little fun question. Talking of exercise, if you had to pinpoint 3 exercises that you had to do for the rest of your life, you could not do any other exercise. I'm not saying you have to do it all the time. What 3 would you pick? Like for anyone and for yourself. But it's only 3 to put you on the spot.
What, the ones that I most like?
Yeah, for example, doing a pull-up would be an exercise example. So it has to be one that you can do at home. As we are talking about COVID, it can't be one that you do with like equipment necessarily. But but I will accept like a pull-up bar, for example.
Right.
Stuff you can find at your house or you already have.
We like doing the plank, so I'd say the plank.
She's very good at the plank, ladies and gentlemen. I just have to point out that it's fucking annoying. Because we did a plank literally just a second ago before this podcast, and she did it for like what was it, like 1 minute and 10 seconds, and you beat me. It's like, oh, for God's sake.
I mean, we're very competitive, aren't we?
Yeah, and what we like on Mario Kart.
Oh yeah, no, don't get me started.
She's really good. I couldn't believe like how good you were at Mario Kart when we did it.
Well, yeah, because the first
But
day
you used to play it a lot, didn't you?
Well, yeah, the first day that we played it together, you said, "Oh, we're not going to. I'm not going to go easy on you." And I said, "Well, I don't want you to go easy on me," but I still beat you, didn't I?
Still beat me.
Yeah.
Who's your character that you normally have?
I made my own me, so I'm usually her. And if I haven't made my own way, who am I? Waluigi.
Oh, Waluigi. Yeah. I'm going to win. That guy, yeah. Because you've got Mario and Luigi, and then you've got, I think it's their like cousins or something, and they're like the evil versions.
Is it the cousins?
Yeah, because you've got Wario and Waluigi, so it's just they're related.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, in the apparently anyway, I don't know where I heard that, but in the official Mario, what's it called, the program or whatever, they're meant to be related. Okay, so going back to the exercises that you do that you would recommend at home for people that anyone can do. What were the other ones that you would suggest? And then I'll give you mine.
So, obviously, I've already said plank. Another one I would say probably sit-ups. I quite enjoyed sit-ups.
Why sit-ups?
I don't know. I've always enjoyed...
Because obviously it's good, because it's funny how you say plank and sit-ups, because they both happen to be for your core. Yeah. Which is extremely important for anyone to have a good core, a strong core.
Yeah.
Especially like if you're a gymnast or something like that.
I mean, in the gym, I prefer doing like leg work and core work. So maybe that's the reason.
So maybe a squat, because you said legs.
Yeah, I could do squats as well.
So you've got plank, sit up, and then
squats.
You'd say squats, because squats is a good all-round one. Yeah, for me personally, I would probably say burpees, because I know that's a bit different, but obviously burpees is great, because if you do a proper burpee with, I'm talking about a push-up, and obviously push-ups you haven't put on the list, but that's a good one, because I was saying about obviously how you can do a push-up with burpees. You hate that, don't you, with Joe Wicks? Because Joe Wicks sometimes does that on his.
Yeah, I think that's the worst.
Is that one of your worst exercises?
Yeah, that's the worst exercise for me.
But that's a great one for anyone. I mean, I like it. When I say I like it, I hate it because it's hard. But I also like it because I like it to be hard. Whereas you don't. I don't know. I look at the beneficial side of the exercises. I think you do as well, but you more if you like it if it's not too hard.
Yeah, I do that as well. But it's like I just don't like burpees. It's probably because I don't like press ups. Like that's probably the worst thing for me. So obviously a proper burpee involves press ups. So that's probably the main reason why I don't like that.
I'd say if you've got some kind of pull up bar, I'd say do a pull up would be one of them, a burpee, and then I'll say press ups as you didn't say that.
Yeah.
Even though the burpee is kind of a press up because it's press up then. Bit of cardio.
You like working on your upper body though, don't you?
I like more upper body, whereas you focus more on the abs and leg.
Body.
Which is interesting actually, because that's just made me think that, I don't know about you, but obviously you being a woman and having you on the podcast, I wanted to ask actually, as you're here, do you think, we're talking about abs and legs, do you think that's something that girls focus more on in the gym? Because I've always thought about that, and I always think you very rarely see them doing, like dumbbell curls, the basic upper body stuff. It's very much, whenever I go into gym, because I think a lot of people don't really realise that men sometimes, I mean, obviously if you're really into it, you don't, but a lot of men forget about leg day, and I think leg day is so important. And to be honest, when I'm working out, a lot of the time I don't even have a leg day. Well, I'm talking about if I go to a gym, I try and incorporate that with most of the days. So I'm doing some sort of leg exercise every day instead of just one day, which I think, again, is something that a lot of men don't do. It's like they have a leg day, whereas I think for women, it's like every day's leg day. I don't know, but what would you say about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's true. I think most women prefer doing legs and ab work, and it's like men, I think they probably prefer upper body work. I mean, like not obviously all men, like you said, but I just feel like
Why do you think that is, if we're going a bit deeper into it?
Don't know, maybe I think men are kind of more self-conscious about their upper body rather than their lower body.
Do you think, I know it sounds weird, but if we're going in a bit deeper into it, that it has something to do with like biology and just human nature? Is obviously women might be slightly more attracted to men that have bigger arms and bigger torsos, well, bigger chest and bigger shoulders, whereas men, they're not so much bothered by if a woman has big arms, because I'm not really that fussed by that as an attractive side. Whereas like if you have a slightly bigger legs, bigger, quads and hamstrings and glutes, your bum, obviously that's an attractive thing to a man, whereas to women it might not be as important.
Yeah, I mean, I think
so men feel like they want to focus more on upper body.
Yeah, I think it's mainly like the stereotypes that we see.
The stereotypes, yeah.
Yeah, because obviously we see it on like social media and everywhere that like men focus more on their upper body, and like they see that as like kind of like the perfect body for them, and obviously the same as the women.
Same for women, but it just happens to be that it's your legs and the bum and that they focus on more. Because I was reading this, I watched this thing, or I was reading something that said about how women are more susceptible in their older age than men, just genetic, like biology wise, to having like bone problems and having weaker bones, which is something that it's no one's fault, obviously, it's just a genetic thing. And men throughout their life have stronger bones than women, and apparently fitness scientists, people if you like, they were saying about how important it is for women to focus on all aspects of their body in terms of working out and producing lean muscle mass, because that is what holds obviously the bones in place and stuff like that, and makes it stronger, the fact that they've got good support around the bones. So I did hear that it is important for women to do a lot of strength training, even more so than men, which I know, I fully understand. Most men and women don't know that, because that's a scientific thing that people just don't know. And I only just found that out, and I'm sure you probably... Did you know that?
Yeah, no, I was going to say I didn't know that.
Especially because I think another reason why it's good for women to work out, they were saying... Because not only is it good for women to do strength training, they generally think that it's more important for women to do strength training than it is for men. So men don't need to do it as much as women, but obviously they do.
Yeah.
And I think another reason is because obviously, like, if you're having a baby and stuff, it's very important to stay in shape for that. Like, I'm not saying you have to constantly work out really hard if you're having a baby. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it might be beneficial. Would you agree? Like, strengthening the pelvic muscles, the bum muscles, your legs.
Yeah.
To push it out. I know it sounds... It's getting a bit detailed here. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I see where you're coming from. I mean,
I
would like to get into strength training, but I just don't kind of like doing it. Once I'm into it, then it's fine. Like, I went to the gym with my friend before, and she was like a personal trainer, and she actually like helped me get into strength training. But after like she left, and I didn't really go to the gym like to do that anymore because she wasn't there, kind of thing. Because she helped me get into it, and then I kind of just like stopped doing it, and I focused more on like cardio and stuff like that. But I would like to do it again.
Okay, so I just wanted to know now, like, it doesn't matter if you're not sure on this question, but I was thinking, if you had any advice to people suffering with mental health during COVID, what sort of things do you do personally to keep yourself occupied? I mean, you've been here for quite a while now, like, you've been doing some of your uni work, even though you haven't had to do that. We've been watching different programmes. But, like, do you have any little top tips? I mean, I know you might not suffer with mental health badly yourself, as I know you're not too bad, and you're keeping yourself active and everything's okay. What would you say?
I mean, I think the main thing for me is to keep yourself busy. I know, like, lots of people say that, but I think that helps me a lot. Even though I don't suffer from it that bad, I think if I didn't keep myself busy and I just kind of did nothing,
stay productive,
then it kind of like would play on my mind a little bit more.
Because you say it doesn't affect you, but the reason I mention this as well is because you're always telling me, aren't you, that you have to stay busy. You're like, oh, Ozie, I have to stay busy, I can't just do nothing, I start going mad.
I mean, I think that's the main reason, because I get so bored and I would love to do, like, productive stuff all the time.
I think it's more boredom then, really.
Yeah, and it's kind of like...
It's a difference, isn't it?
I just hate sitting around doing nothing. That's just how I am and how I've been, like, kind of my whole life.
Yeah, because when you used to work at your job down at the seafront at AB's restaurant, you used to, like, even if you were doing long hours, you would rather do that than do... Well, you actually liked that, whereas most people complain. You never complained, did you?
Yeah, I actually loved it there. It was just like, it didn't really feel like work either. I kind of just made connections with the customers, and I felt like that was really, like, good for me. And lots...
Isn't it the same with, like, not just that, but any job? You really just want a job so bad so you can just work and...
Yeah. Just kind of like keep busy.
Like if you had the choice between having lots of money and you don't ever have to work again, but you can work, but you don't have as much money, but you still have a bit and you're quite comfortable, but you still need to go to work. Would you choose the work, if that makes sense?
Yeah, I would choose the work. Wouldn't you? I've always said that I would hate to retire, so I don't know what I'm going to be like. Obviously, you get, like, older and you get tireder, but, like, I would hate to retire. So yeah, I would probably choose work over that.
So your top tip then is basically just stay productive, do things you like doing.
Keep busy.
Do things that make you happy. And my one would be, don't watch the news if it's to do with COVID and that's something that's depressing you, because it's extremely depressing. It depresses me every time I watch it, so don't do that. Well, yeah, I think that sums everything up that we've wanted to talk about. It's been an interesting discussion. Thank you so much, Pickle. Oh, yeah, I should probably point out as well that I always call you Pickler, don't I? And lots of people don't know that.
That's like your little nickname for me.
It's my little nickname. Okay, thanks for listening. Be sure to Like this video and subscribe to the channel. Be most appreciated. Thank you guys for listening. Take care. Adios.
Bye bye.